Shalom everyone, it's Kol Torah 12 on Tuesday. One of the most famous stories or famous tests that Avraham had to go through was the Akedah, the binding of Isaac. That it's really appear in our parasha, in Parashat Vayera, at the end of the parasha. There are many explanations and many different opinions on the test itself, on that nisayon, this very difficult, tremendous test that Avraham, as well as Yitzchak, as well as Isaac, were put through. There are many theological explanations and theological problems with this test. But today I would like to focus on the first verse that in a way gives the introduction to this entire nisayon, to this entire test. And the pasuk said the following, on chapter 22, Kaf Bet, pasuk Aleph, verse 1. ויהי אחר הדברים האלה, and it happened after these things, והאלוהים ניסה את אברהם, ויאמר אליו, אברהם, ויאמר הנני, that God tested Avraham and said to him, Avraham, and he replied, here I am. The first four words in that verse are, ויהי אחר הדברים האלה, and it happened after these things. And obviously the question is, what things? What are we talking about? What are the things, the previous things, that in a way led to this test, to this trial, to this very difficult request from God to take Isaac and to bring him as a sacrifice? And I would like to focus on one interpretation and to elaborate on it. One interpretation is that these things refers to the previous story that preceded the Sipur, the story of the Akedah, the binding of Isaac. And what is the story? The story is about Avimelech, the king of Plishtim, that we remembered him from a previous story. As we know, there was a famine in Israel, and Avraham once went to Egypt, but once he went to Avimelech, the king of Plishtim, to dwell there. Avimelech took Sarah, Avraham's wife, and God stopped him from touching her. And Avimelech released Sarah and gave her back to Avraham. Later on, Avimelech came to Avraham and he told him, look, we see that God is with you and you are very successful in every endeavor that you take. And I would like to make a deal with you. As you know, I performed chesed, kindness with you, and I allowed you to stay in my country, in my territory. Therefore, I would like to ask you to, in a way, make a contract with me that you will always keep that in mind, keep that favor in mind, not only for me, for my future generations as well, so you will never attack us, you will never try to bother us, you will always respect us. And Avraham agreed. And they created a contract or a covenant, in a way a peace treaty, between Avraham and Avimelech. And immediately after Avraham signed this document, Avraham was tested with this tremendous, very difficult test of the Akedah. And now I would like to ask the question, the obvious question. Why? What is the link? What is the kesher? What is the connection between this story of Avimelech and Avraham and the test of the Akedah, the binding of Isaac? And I would like to suggest to you the following idea. Avraham, in a way, was tested again with this story of Avimelech. Avimelech approached Avraham with a contract. And Avraham, in a way, found himself in a juncture. If he is not going to sign this document, maybe some of his relationship with Avimelech will be not as great as both of them want. On the other hand, if he's going to sign this document, he's going now to talk on behalf of the nation that he is going to form, that he is going to establish. It also entails some territorial concessions or territorial consideration to Plishtim, to Avimelech's descendants. And when Avraham signed this document without consulting God and without really thinking about the future consequences of his signature, in a way he viewed himself as someone who is strong, as someone who is not vulnerable, as someone who knows what is good not only for himself, but also for future generations. In a way, Avraham showed that he's not breakable, that he can sign something for future generations as well and make them committed to something that they never signed. I think this point bothered God in a way. God said to Avraham, look, I did promise you this land. I did commit myself to give it to you. But it's not yours per se. It's a gift for you. But you are not really the owner of this land yet. And you are not in a position to sign something for future generations and commit future generations for something that they don't know yet. Vulnerability, the feeling of vulnerability is still something that you need to feel. And therefore, take your son, your beloved son Isaac, that now you are sure that he is going to be the one to continue on your legacy. Take him and bring him as a sacrifice. Now let's see, did your signature can last a long time when your descendant is going to be on the altar, on the Mizbeach? The point of vulnerability is a very important point in our life. There is a balance that we need to find between being strong, being very much straightforward and trying to build and plan our future, but at the same time to understand our vulnerability and our weaknesses. This is the test for Avraham. After 9 tests that Avraham passed with A+, there is still no guarantees for future. And this is the human test that we are always being put through. On one hand, build a future, strong and a steady future. And on the other hand, vulnerability and fear and concerns. This is the test that we go through exactly like Avraham. And we can only hope and pray that the test, the nisayon that comes from the word nes, a flag, a degel, will rise us and give us the inner strength to overcome the challenges yet not be seen. Thank you.